You are listening to A Quiet Mind. Hello, everyone. This is Robert. First of all, I would like to start out saying thank you so much to those of you that responded and wrote in about the podcast, letting me know how you're feeling about what I'm talking about and what this is doing for you. Thank you very, very much. It's wonderful to get feedback. And it also inspires me to address new issues. So I would encourage you all to write me with any requests that you have, any questions, any comments at all, to robert@aquietmind.com. So this is part 5 on our series of self-honesty. And I want to begin by saying, I know that we've tackled something here that is quite a challenge. It's quite a mountain to climb, so to speak. And I want to congratulate you thus far on listening to the podcasts and hopefully on putting some of these things into practice in your daily life. And I want to remind you how important it is to notice that you are putting these things into practice in your life, and to give yourself approval that you see yourself doing this. So, in this final podcast on self-honesty, basically I would like to just recap some of the things that I believe are the finer points of looking at ourselves deeply and honestly. When we brought in the silent observer, I'm sure that when some of you tried this, that it may not have resonated with you. It may not have clicked. So I would like to go over that again just very quickly. Just a reminder that the silent observer is that experience that we have when we are completely calm, we are completely still, and we are completely at ease, without a thought in our mind, and all we're feeling is a blissful and light state. Now, this is our true nature. This is our true beingness. This is who we truly are, and this is what we're working at attaining. When we start to connect with the silent observer, one of the things that comes up is that the small self, the ego mind, might get a lot louder and a lot more tenacious. I just wanted to warn you about that. Never mind, once again, this is just one of the normal things that happens when we begin to unravel the small self, as it were. The silent observer, probably one of the most powerful weapons against the small self that we could have. So, putting this into practice daily, you may be faced with some even more deeper challenges, and it looks like things are getting much, much worse. But in actuality, they're getting much, much better, because what's happened is you have awakened yourself, possibly. I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm just speaking for people who may be recognizing that the small self is really making a lot of noise now. You may have awakened yourself from a psychic sleep. And what I mean by this is that you may kind of have been going along, doing your life just quite normally, and now all of a sudden you have opened up a door that you may not have opened previously. So it is highly probable that you will be experiencing a little bit of resistance, maybe a lot of resistance from the small self. But don't let this discourage you. Keep working with the silent observer. And when you do find yourself experiencing this state, the normal state of beingness, the silent observer, I want to caution you on one thing. And this is something that I think that a lot of people go through. We have a tendency to want to grasp and hold on to that feeling. Oh, there's the silent observer. Oh, yes, I'm going to hold on to that now. I'm not going to let it go. I need to feel that all the time. And as soon as we do that, as soon as we grasp it, it's gone. Because you see, that is the mind, the small self, grasping and wanting to retain an experience. There's nothing to retain here whatsoever. This is who you truly are. So there is nothing to attain. There's nothing to add. There is only needing to take away. Just a few more facts about the silent observer. Another thing that I want to look at again is, once again, I can't stress this enough, is acceptance in this time of who you are right now, with all of your so-called faults, with all of your so-called problems, with all of your so-called disabilities. It's very important that you accept yourself for the way you are right now. Because as we're observing like this, the small self is really going to pipe up and it's going to start becoming superior. It actually has new knowledge now. So it's probably going to tell you things like, just quiet your mind. If you would just quiet down. See, you're talking too much. It's going to create a new dialogue. And that's the thing that I want to talk about here today, is that this is a dialogue. And the mind is speaking with many, many, many different voices. There could be hundreds or thousands of thoughts going on at one time, and all of them want your attention. And what we're going to do here is we're not going to go to one extreme or the other. We're not going to constantly try to think that we need to be in this blissful state and attaining this, and this is the good thing that we want always, always, always. So we need to grasp. We need to obtain. We need to become that. Or we're over here and the mind is chattering, doing its thing, making a lot of noise, and becoming superior now, telling itself to be quiet. We want to try to find a middle road here. And that middle road is where our silent observer really lives. It's in between the spiritual superior ego mind and the lower small self. So we're walking a very fine line here, but don't be discouraged. Watch the dialogues as they go. Watch, become centered. Remember to breathe in and out, and remain calm. In this state, when we become calm and when we become peaceful, we are the middle road. We are going right down the center. We're neither right, we're neither left. We are not going to become indifferent to all things that are happening around us, but we're going to become an excellent observer. We are going to become a focused participant in our lives. That is our objective. Watching the dialogue of the mind, learning how to see that we want to attach ourselves to thoughts. The mind wants to attach itself to thoughts, so it busies itself. We want to watch that, and we want to become aware. Never being too hard on ourselves, always being consistent. In this moment, we can begin to become self-honest. When we attain the middle ground, where we're observing the dialogue of the mind, the questions, and we are embracing that middle calm part, we can begin to study the self, the mind, and then we can begin to become honest with ourselves. That means that we're going to critique at an honest level without there being harsh condemnation or judgment. this is another one of the very strong keys. No harsh condemnation, no judgment. You're going to observe as if you were outside of yourself, quietly, silently watching. Basically, we are going to be like a person in a movie theater. There we are sitting in the movie theater, and we're watching this drama happening on the big screen. Now imagine, just pick any movie that you've seen recently that was really, really fantastic, and you were so drawn into it, you were actually really on the edge of your seat. And there are the actors and the people up there on the screen, and they have their dialogue, and they're talking back and forth, and there's thoughts flying, and there's a lot of activity and action, and there's all these different actors that have different personalities. You have bad guy, you have the good guy, you have, the love interest, you have the caring old grandmother, you have the wise old grandfather, you have the little children, that need help. Imagine that you're watching this happen on the screen. There you are in the theater, and you're excited, and you're watching all of these people speak at the same time. But you're there, and you're watching the movie, but you're not actually in it. And that's what we want to work on with self-honesty, to be able to observe ourself at that level, to watch ourself as if we were different characters on a screen. So that's what we're going to work with today. We're going to work with being that person that's sitting in the movie theater, watching all of these participants in this drama, this wonderful show, which is our life. And we're going to begin to very carefully watch, because in our mind, we have every character that you could imagine on a film, from the little crying hurt child all the way up to the wisest grandfather. Everyone's there. So use this exercise to start to be able to picture the inner dialogue going on and be able to identify the different characters here. And that is an incredible tool to begin to start to observe ourselves from outside ourselves. So then we can go deeper in our look at self-honesty. Well, thank you. Good job. That ends our series on self-honesty, but by no means does it end our exploration into this topic. And if you're working on this and you have any questions, any comments at all, you're finding a hurdle that you can't get over, please write to me at robert@aquietmind.com. And I would also encourage you to visit zencast.org. This is one of my favorite podcasts, and I am a featured speaker this week where I have a new podcast all about letting go. And I would highly recommend that you put this into practice along with everything we have learned thus far in the Self-Honesty series. So please check that out when you can. That's zencast.org, and you can also find them on iTunes. Thank you very much.